I thought I would share with everybody today. I don't know if you can see this very well. This string, I'm going to call this my razor edge. It is so small, yet really, really powerful. What does that have to do with anything for us? Well, I want to use this as my razor edge, talking about the difference between what is good and what is great. And they are literally separated by just a very, very small edge. And what do I mean by that? You can think of that good to great being amateur to world class. You can think about those are pro versus an amateur. But I want to talk about this thought process that comes from being good to great. When I think about that, what makes a person average? All of us are born with, we have our own intelligence, our own physical abilities, we have all of that. And our performance really, and our mental state really dictates how we actually perform. And there is a difference on that fine line that allows somebody to be good to move to great. What makes that happen? Most of us can think about those people who are just powerful, passionate about what they do. I think of Todd and Shannon. Both of them have just built an organization that is just powerful. And it has to do with what you see over my left shoulder right here. It's all about mindset. Move the right way. It's all about mindset. It's all about that. But here's the truth. And I hope I'm exploding some of your thought processes here. Evidence has always shown that there is really a very fine line that will allow someone to take and move from one side of that razor's edge to the other. And it is all about how they think. So is it possible for someone to move to the other side? Absolutely. Someone who has average intelligence, modest means, can they do that? Absolutely. The answer is yes. The question, though, is, will they? Will they move from one side to the other? Now, how do they do that? Well, it really comes down to one thing, and it's one thing only. It is deciding to do so, period. So if you want to write down a thought for today, decide to do so, period. You have to move yourself from amateur to pro. I will tell you that in my life, I have lived in both of those spheres. And sometimes I've gone from one side to the other. When I live in amateur, life is much tougher because I'm always fearful of what the next thing is going to be. But I will also tell you, living in the world of pro makes combating any of those amateurs much easier. My mental state is different. How do I get there, though? Well, I put into place those things that actually change. And I want to give you a real life example of what I'm talking about. What comes in, garbage in, garbage out, that whole thought process. When I started back here on February 1st, the very first day, Todd had sent out a podcast to all the MDs. And in that podcast, it spoke specifically about that garbage in, garbage out. Well, February 1st, we just came off of a crazy political election. I was heavily involved in the news, all that kind of stuff. And in this podcast, it says you need to cut out the garbage. So I did for 1 week. And I got to tell you, my attitude, my internal gut, the heaviness of my heart, how I felt optimistic about life absolutely changed. In listening to that podcast, making a change, I went from amateur thinking to pro thinking. It changes how you view the world by allowing no garbage in. And you can actually combat, that's what world-class thinkers do. You can move from good to great by doing those types of things. So I issue you each a challenge today. And this challenge is just this. I want you to rate yourself as a performer, how you critically analyze yourself out there. And these are the areas I challenge you to do that in sacrifice, in discipline, in confidence, pride, and mental toughness. Rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 7. If none of those are on the scale of 7, then you need to make a commitment to yourself to study those types of habits. It will change your thinking. It will move you from good to great. And when you're in the great category, you actually become much more of a winner in all thought processes. That's in all parts of your life, both physical, spiritual, and also in the temporal. Now, I want to leave you with a final quote here. And this really kind of hit me hard here is as we're working in this inventory world, this real estate world that has all kinds of challenges. And I want each one of you to move to that great state. And this is the thought: accept the fact that the end result of life is the same for everyone. And since no one will survive in the end, there is no point in playing it safe. So what average people see as unnecessary risk-taking, champions view as playing the game while there's still time left on the clock. My challenge to you today: go out and be great. Make CDP be the best that it can actually be. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Have a great week.